Now next up we have this 2023 Grand Wagoneer. We have talked about the Wagoneer earlier on the program, but this is the Grand Wagoneer, which is actually completely different. This is a super high luxury 3-row SUV by Jeep, and let's take a closer look. So there's a lot to go over with this Grand Wagoneer, but let's start with the important stuff. This has available Jeep's new inline 6-cylinder turbocharged, what they call their Hurricane engine, and that has 510 horsepower and 500 foot-pounds of torque, so this vehicle is no slouch. And obviously with it having the Jeep heritage, it comes with a lot of off-road capability as well. You can tow with this vehicle, you can take a large family or lots of friends up skiing with this vehicle. Now those of you that know the Jeep brand obviously remember the Wagoneer, or a lot of us remember the Wagoneer with the wood veneer on the side. This one doesn't have it, but it does pull from a lot of its styling cues. For instance, this one has the raked back grille. You might not be able to see it here, but it angles inward slightly, just like the Wagoneer of old. The Grand Wagoneer comes in a couple of different models. We have the Series 1, the Series 2, and the Series 3. Also, we have a Grand Wagoneer L, which has a bunch more cargo capacity behind the third row. Now, I mentioned that new engine that comes in the Grand Wagoneer, the Hurricane twin-turbo inline 6. If you can believe it, it actually has more horsepower and torque than the 6.4-liter Hemi. And if properly equipped, can tow up to 9,750 pounds. Pretty impressive for a vehicle this size. Now, I'd mentioned the front grille earlier, but if we look down the side of the vehicle, the Grand Wagoneer actually comes in a two-tone paint job. So we have white down here, and this roof on this model is actually black, which I think looks really great. And of course, with any luxury vehicle, this one has power side steps as well. Now, one thing I've liked that Jeep has done with this is the fact that it has a dual exhaust, but it has no fake tips like a lot of other auto manufacturers. Just a regular dual exhaust system, no fake fascia, fake exhaust. I really like that, and I appreciate that from Jeep. They also have sequential turn signals, who doesn't love those, and sequential taillights. Now, I think where the Grand Wagoneer really shines is on the interior. It actually has up to 75 inches of display space, including a center here. We have another one beneath for the climate control, and what's really neat is there's a passenger area that has a screen that you can also even watch Netflix on. I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. Now, with luxury being a top priority, obviously, it does have heated, cooled, and massaging seats, and they're 24-way adjustable. Now, what luxury vehicle is without a great stereo system? And this one's no different. This has 23 speakers and over 1,300 watts of power. I'd say that's probably enough for just about anybody. Now, I mentioned this vehicle has a lot of screen space, and I wasn't kidding. The driver information digital cluster is right in front of you when you're driving on that beautiful 2-spoke steering wheel. I like a 2-spoke steering wheel, by the way, not that anyone cares. Of course, on your 12-inch touchscreen, you get Uconnect 5, which is fantastic. I've used it plenty. It's nice and fast, it doesn't freeze. And then we also have a class exclusive available front passenger interactive display, which you can actually watch Netflix on, and more importantly, somewhat importantly, you can send directions straight from that screen over to the center screen for the driver so they can deal with the driving, and you can be a good passenger. And then we have an available in-vehicle entertainment with Fire TV built in, which means obviously not only can the passenger watch Netflix, but you can watch Fire TV, Netflix, or what have you in the back as well. Another really neat thing is there's an HDMI port built into these, so you can actually mirror your phone and whatever you're doing on your phone, or if you want to watch another program right from your phone, right to the screen here in this Wagoneer. Now, of course, we mentioned all the goodies inside, but at the end of the day, it is a Grand Wagoneer, so these vehicles are obviously very capable off-road. We have a select terrain traction management system that you can use. You can do rock, sand, mud, snow, just leave it in auto, and it also has a sport mode. Now, all of these, they change the shift mapping, they change the way the engine responds, throttle inputs, all those things to maximize either sportiness or off-road capability. Now, in addition to those modes, you can also adjust your air suspension that comes with the vehicle. It has what's called quadrant lift air suspension, and you can adjust that up and down depending on if you're going over rough terrain, maybe you're going to a campsite or you have to get over something, or on the highway you can lower the vehicle down. Also very useful off-road is the Quadralift air suspension. You can adjust that up or down, and of course on the road the air suspension gives a really comfortable ride. Now, as with any Wagoneer, this has a myriad of safety features. A couple of the ones that I really like from when I drove one of these was the 360 surround view camera. Obviously this is a big vehicle, so if you're in a small parking lot or a tight area, having the 360 view, being able to look kind of down on the vehicle is really easy, so you can place where the corners of the vehicle actually are. It also features a ParkSense automated parking system that can assist the vehicle in parking and exiting parking spaces. And if we look down here, we also have active lane management, full speed forward collision warning with active braking, and most importantly for me is adaptive cruise control with stop and go. So if you're sitting in traffic or you're on a long road trip, nothing is better than having adaptive cruise control. One really neat feature that I like is this available night vision camera with pedestrian and animal detection. Now that comes right up in your digital display, and it can show you animals or people on a darkly lit road, and I think that's a really neat feature. Now if this 2023 Grand Wagoneer is something you'd be interested in, definitely check it out at Elmwood Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in East Providence.